buy a new farm.
Can you believe it has actually been a year, a whole year, almost to the day, since we brought the farm? Now I say the farm, it is our farm, it's our little place, it's our little bit of England, our little bit of Sussex. It's only 4 acres big, and it is basically this field. If we go around, you can then see there's a fence line just over there, hopefully, although I am shooting into the sun, and you can see the 2 horses over there. And it's this other field here that I'm walking towards. But it's been a year, and boy, have we done a lot. A lot has happened around here. A lot of things have been done. We brought the farm, obviously, last year, 2020, in the middle of the global pandemic. That has not helped us out one little bit with any of our plans. We did have a business plan, and because of the pandemic and because of the weather and because of a few other bits and pieces, that business plan just went totally out the window. But we are still working. We're still here. Things are still going on. Videos are still going up every now and then. I admit, just at the minute, they're not very regular, but that's because of work and a few other issues that we've got. So what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to chop and change a little bit in between how it is now, what's happened now, and what's happened over the last year, and we'll have a look back at a few excerpts of videos and a few other bits and pieces. All right, let's start off here. So we've got this area here, roughly 2 acres of land, and it's mine. And then we've got this area here, which is roughly another 2 acres of land, which is also mine. So we'll start off though in what I call the top field, and in the top field we've got Pete the Pylon. He's one of the biggest pylons you get here in the UK. There are 3 wires on each one of the points. So yeah, it's a big old pylon. I have been told a story by an adjoining landowner that when it was built, before they put the wires in, his dad actually climbed all the way up to the top of it just to see what the view was like from the top. And I think if they ever do any work on it whilst I'm here, I might have to buy myself another GoPro, because I'll be doing the same thing. Okay, so top field, this is it here. The hedge has always been bad. That hasn't been touched in years, absolutely years. The only part of it that has been touched is just over here. I just put my finger up just over here, because that's where it runs underneath the wires for the pylons. So all of these here, and that's trimmed down by the power company. We haven't touched the hedge. We do plan to slice it all the way down. I'm not sure if YouTube will let me say the name of it, but that hedge over there is mostly pussy willow, otherwise known as goat willow. So it's a willow tree, and you're able to slice it off, slice it down, and then it will spring back. If you can see just over the other side of the pylon, just over here, there's all of this greenery. That's exactly the same sort of trees. And about 2-3 years ago, they sliced all of them down, and they're all coming back. Just part of the process. Other than that, this top field we haven't done very much in. This is where the horses are at the minute, and there isn't very much I can do up here because we've got the horses, and they spend a lot of time here, other than when they go down to this part here, which is where most of the other stuff has happened. So let's jump over there and we'll go and have a look. So this is the lower field, and you can see the grass is quite long just at the minute. If I put you down, we did have the horses in here for a little bit, but it's all coming up and it's going to seed, and there's all of that lovely grass pollen in there. And there's other areas where, if we come over here and have a look, you can see it's just come up and it's proper grass, proper grazing grass, nice thick lush grass in that, which is amazing to see, considering how for the last 5 years at least, prior to us actually buying the place, it was just left, and the guy would come in with the big lawnmower on the back of the tractor once, maybe twice a year, and just cut it all down and just leave it. So we've had the horses on here because we wanted to get it back down to this level. Just before we look at the fence, we'll just come down here, pile of mud. This is mud that has been kicked up by a mole, and we do have moles on here, so we've got a bit of a mole issue. But as you may know, I am a pest controller and I can deal with moles. That's not a huge problem. If you want to see how I deal with moles, leave us a comment down below and I will make a video on it. because we've actually got quite a few. Now they are quite handy because they do occasionally dig up stuff which is mildly interesting to look at, but that'll be another video coming up in a future episode. What's that? It's a stone. It's not interesting. Damn. Okay, maybe another molehill will. So this is the fence on one boundary between us and our neighbours. That's our neighbours there. That's us here. Slight little difference. And you can see that the fence is old and it's slowly falling down. And this bit still needs to be redone. This fence is probably older than me. And yeah, I was born in 1980. So yeah, you can well imagine just how old that fence is. And it's obviously weathered a few winters. So what we had to do to be able to keep the animals secure is we placed up this electric fence to keep the horses in, but then along here we just basically changed and replaced all the posts. Now we didn't change the fencing because there was no need to, or the barbed wire, because again there was no need to. It's fine, it works perfect, but the posts were gone, they were rotten away. So we brought these new ones in and we spent time whacking them in. We probably won't get to finish it off now. These are old ones that were still actually quite solid. We won't get to finish it off now until maybe October. We'll get down and we'll have a look at it. One of the issues we do have along here, if I show you, you can see them there, are the thistles. That's over our neighbour's side, and you can see they're over our side. And there's been various areas where there's massive patches of thistles, and you just slice them down just to try to get rid of them and stop them coming back again next year. You might have seen down here, I'll try to chase it if I can, there is a dragonfly jumping. He's just landed. Let's see if I can find him on the camera. There he is. See him there, the blue thing jumping around? Just landed. Just in there. A little dragonfly, just a little one. There we go. Little tiny dragonfly. Oh, got to zoom out now. There we go. So we've got dragonflies, we've got butterflies, we have got moths, we have got every other single type of invertebrate and whatever else you can think of. When I was up here the other day and I was cutting the grass, there was either a vole or a shrew, a little thing only about that big, jumping away through the grass in front of me, trying to get away from the mower, and it did. I will say that. Oh, we've also got this horrible stuff as well. This is called ragwort. We haven't got too much of that, but that's not very good for the horses, so I have to come back and pull that out. But yeah, the amount of wildlife we've got down here, even though we manage it, and obviously we're grassland, and this has been grass since the year dot from what we can make out, but just behind us you can see we've got wheat, and obviously our neighbour is grass, but they cut the grass. But the amount of wildlife we've got after managing it for just a year, and the amount of flowers and the amount of other types of foliage. So as well as having grass, you see we've got all of these different herbs, plants, other things that are growing up through. It is a proper meadow. It's not a wildflower meadow because there's not many flowers, but it is a proper grassy meadow. Right, as promised, let's go and look at the crops and then we'll look around the yard. So if you've been watching our videos of late, you would have known that we've got a few things in the ground just at the minute. And you would see that our corn that I recorded, I think it was in our last video, just at the end of June, I said it needed to be knee-high by the 4th of July for it to be a good crop. And it's virtually up to my waist, which is about 1 metre. So the corn is going fantastic. Next to the corn, we've got some pumpkins. Down here, you can see we've got some squash. There, we've got some more pumpkins. And then over there behind the apple trees, we've got even more. And this is all stuff we've put in this year. This is just a trial, just to give it a go and see what happens. So we've got our trees we brought from Tesco's. They've gone in this year, we've done that. We've got more crops in down there. That's all gone in. So it's all brand new stuff that we are trialing for this year. And this area where all of these crops are used to be for pigs. And we did plan on getting pigs. We thought, yes, we'll get some pigs, we'll bring in some weaners, we'll grow them up, and then we'll send them off to slaughter and we'll get it all done. Unfortunately, whilst that would still be my plan if I had half a chance of doing it, we haven't been able to get the pigs for 2 reasons. Reason number 1 is they will churn up the ground, they will wreck the ground. And we don't have an awful lot of ground. If we had twice as much ground, then yeah, I would bring in the pigs without a shadow of a doubt. Reason number two is because the location of the slaughterhouse. Our nearest slaughterhouse actually closed down about 6 months before we bought this place. So now it means an 1.5 to 2 hour journey to be able to take the pigs off to get them slaughtered and processed. And I'm not 100% happy with that. I would much rather have somewhere less than an hour away. I know an hour is just like an arbitrary number, but I would much rather have somewhere less than an hour away, just so as it doesn't place that much stress on the animal. Because anybody who knows the south coast of England, you will know that people say that the southeast of England has got the best transport links in the world, until you actually live down here and you have to move around, and you will know it is a nightmare. A journey that should take an hour can quite often take 2-3 hours if you get a minor incident on the roads. So we're now over here by the bees, and you should be able to see down there the bees are very busy, very busy bees. So these bees came off a split of one of the hives we got up at our old place. I actually split them in two, so I've got some down here and some up at the old place still. The plan was for this year for it to be all about the bees. The bees were going to be the money makers. The bees were going to be the things that were going to get us started, get us going, and get us earning some cash quickly, easily down here. And then the weather gods said, no chance. It has been a horrible year for bees. The build up, where they need to build up in the spring, they started and they went fantastically well, and then it just got wet. And it stayed wet, and it was wet for a long time. So all of the honey they'd made, everything they had done, they have then eaten themselves, obviously, to keep them going. There was no spare. We didn't have any spring honey. Now, I'm not going too close because they're obviously very active at the minute, but I can see them going in as I stand here. You won't be able to see it on the camera, unfortunately. I'll try and get in a bit closer. Let's try and find somewhere that we can go. Unfortunately, I'm wearing a black t-shirt, and bees hate black. So let's see, you might be able to see that they're coming in with their shopping bags full up on the side of their bodies, and they're yellow. Yeah, they're starting to buzz me a little bit. They're not happy that I'm here. So there is a flow just starting now. A flow is what you call when they start bringing in the nectar, they bring in the pollen, and they've got the weather. Oh, there's one there. See it bringing in shopping bags, big yellow things. That one's not. Yeah, the flow is when they're bringing in the nectar, they're bringing in the pollen. There we go, there's a couple going in there. And they're doing it all, and they're turning it all into honey. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to add the super onto the top of this one, so as we can get a bit of honey going into there. Because these guys, there's 10 frames in there. And when I started these guys off, they were only on 4. Last time I checked them, they were up to 8. So yeah, we're going to need to up them and whack them on a super. Now, if you want to know more about the bees, let me know, and I will do my best to explain a little bit more about them. I don't know a huge amount, but I know a bit. So, and obviously, I'm planning to become a bee farmer. That was the plan for this year. Obviously, it didn't work out. Next year, fingers crossed, it'll be a better year. Right, let's move on to the farmyard and look what's gone on around there, because that is where the biggest changes in the last year have happened. So there is another enclosure pen down there. I don't know if you saw it as we came through, but you can see we've got apples, 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 and there's apple trees going all the way through. Oh dear, look at all this lot. So what services have we got? We have got mains water. Mains water is connected. It is on. That's going to be a chicken house at some point. You can see that there's things like this that are falling down that were obviously runs for some sort of bird at some point. But everything's been included, the whole lot. We don't have power here, so that's going to be a project, because what we're going to do is we're going to do solar power. If you look, we've got a lot of overhanging trees. Now, I do know the reason why the trees were planted, so as things could be done and the planners couldn't see them. Not that there's very much here that the planners could have, well, there isn't anything here that the planners could object to. So yeah, we got these here. Let's go around and have a look. See, there's so much work to be doing in there, and then this is still part of the same thing. It's like one big thing, but you can see by the door it needs so much work doing to it. It's unreal.
So yeah, the trees were planted so the planners couldn't see what was going on in here, which is fine. We got more apple trees down the back there, but again, it's so dark with everything. Just need to have some massive bonfires, I think. Supplies. Got a horse box. That'll come in handy for horsey stuff. And you can see that's just full up of egg boxes and stuff.
And there is still an enclosure down in this bit that we still haven't got to. We still haven't got around to actually doing anything in there. I'm not sure if we will. Maybe, maybe not. Let's wait and see what happens. But anyway, as you can see in this whole area, the birds have just totally owned it. It is now their area. The mud on the floor is normal chicken mud. They've got their coop, which is there. Looks totally different, but it's where they live. They're happy, they're healthy. There's a couple in there just roosting up for the night. You can see we've now got the panel on the back here. This is Stephen's pen. He's called Stephen. He's our little disabled duck. Oh, we got a gate and a fence, more fencing, more electric fencing. Keep the thieves and the foxes out. So we got some banthams down here at the end. These guys have actually just hatched out some chicks. I'm not sure if they're going to bring them out to show us or anything. They might do if we're lucky. No, they're not going to. They're going to hide away. But this whole area, I just trod in mud. This whole area has just basically been transformed from what it was. If you remember it from that little clip, just here is where the horse box was, and the horse box is gone. You know, we got rid of that. We built the shed. The shed looks like it's been there forever, which is how we wanted it to look. A lot of the stuff has just been stacked up over there. Anybody who's done anything with any sort of like farming, agriculture, or anything else like that will understand the mentality of we'll stack it there. Doesn't matter if we don't use it for 6 years, we might need it one day. That's all there. This coop, hello, good evening, is reused. This is basically the brooder. Come on camera, focus in on the chickens, not the wire. Yeah, and you focus in on the string hanging down. Okay. So yeah, basically this coop has been repurposed. That's now the brooder. A lot of the stuff that was here, there was a ton and a half of wood stacked up around this bit. That just basically went to bonfires. That was burnt, got rid of. The IBC tank, where was that? That was over by the orchard, I think. That was over there somewhere. That's been moved over here. One of the first projects we started, and you will remember in that little clip, I did say that we are going to sink a well. That is one of the things that we are doing, and you can see that there's a well pipe there. I have tried about 3 or 4 times. Now I'm doing a big major excavation work thingy to try to get the well in, get it done, get it sorted, and then we can move forward with having our own water. We've got the solar power. We'll come to that in just a second. So these tractors, this whole area has still really got to be sorted out. Like, it's empty-ish, and it's just been used as like a dumping ground for new stuff, old stuff. I've got work stuff there because I ran out of space in my storage area to be able to put it. Tractors that should be going, tractors that haven't gone. And let's cut into how the orchard looked from that video before we started.
Because in here is an orchard, and this tree here has got plums on it. There's raspberries which are ripe now. There's pears, there's apples. There's just so much.
Okay, that's how the orchard looks. So now the outside of the orchard has got the 2 solar panels there. I do need to move them because they're not exactly in the ideal place because there's this big willow tree here. So I need to move them out to a field somewhere or get something done with them. And you can see that 1, there's a gate on the orchard, and 2, you can actually see into the orchard as well. And if you look over there, you see that red stuff hanging down. That's actually red currants all over the bushes, ready to be picked. Still work to do in there. But I don't like to do too many videos in there because people don't seem to like the orchard videos. So yeah, this area has just changed totally, and it's fantastic. It's still a work in progress, still more to do. One of the main things we have found here over this last year, if I point you up there because it's just in the temporary position, is the security of the place. Oh, I don't know if we covered this bit in the old videos, but yeah, we've got chickens down the back there as well, more fencing, more runs. Is the security of the place. So we had an issue, long time viewers will know we had an issue, we had some birds stolen, we had some equipment stolen. And it wasn't taken by the fox because the fox don't like to use trimmers. They prefer to do it by hand. So anyway, yeah, we had that stuff taken, we had that stuff stolen, and we put up cameras. You would have seen the video I've done on the Reolink Go, but I've got some other ones that are just standard Wi-Fi cameras, but I've got them working off of a Wi-Fi dongle that also sends alerts to my phone. And actually about 2 weeks ago, we had some intruders down here, but where I just said, oh, I just stood in the mud, you can see that I'm slowly adding stuff down onto the floor. And I get this is old crockery off of house clearance, estate clearance companies in the States. It's just rubbish stuff that you have to pay to dispose of. But listen, it is so loud as you walk across it, which is one of the reasons why I slowly picked my way as we walked across up there, that the guys who were in here, they tried to avoid it. I'll do a video on that in a week or so's time about what happened and what is actually happening now with it. Not that I can say too much about it. But anyway, I'm waffling on. It has been a year. It is absolutely fantastic. You know, happy birthday to the farm. Have a good one. Enjoy it. There's another year to come. There's a lot more that's going to be happening. So thank you so much for watching, for listening to me drone on for all of this time. And until the next video, bye-bye.